Good afternoon again, and thank you for coming to today's announcement. I want to first begin by introducing to my left Mr. Mike Sampson, who's the Chief Executive Officer of Fire and Emergency Services, Newfoundland and Labrador, and he's here to assist me in regards to any questions that might be more of a technical nature that I might not be able to answer concerning today's announcement. I will begin with a prepared statement, and then certainly we'll be glad to take any questions that might come from the audience. I am pleased today to be here to announce some key decisions related to our government's commitment to implementation of province-wide basic 911 and commerce implementation of the next generation 911 system by the end of 2014. Today I will outline plans for both a system governance structure and a financing model, and I will also provide further details on the recent budgetary allocation for project implementation, all of which will be set a solid foundation for the advancement of a unified system for public safety in Newfoundland and Labrador. To date, much internal work has been underway focusing on development work to establish the framework for a Newfoundland and Labrador basic 911 system. My officials at Fire and Emergency Services, Newfoundland and Labrador, have been using the information provided to us through the recently released 911 feasibility study to review the various approaches to building a Newfoundland and Labrador system and evaluating the options available to us to move this project ahead. Initial discussions with key stakeholders, including Departments of Health and Community Services and Justice, both policing agencies, municipalities, Newfoundland and Labrador, and the Labrador Association of Fire Services have already taken place. Further discussions are anticipated throughout the coming weeks and months. We have also engaged with the Office of Legislative Counsel and the Department of Justice to begin the process of drafting legislation to develop, establish and operate a Newfoundland and Labrador 911 system in addition to the regulations to govern such a system. All these actions and the initiatives announced today have been undertaken with the goal of ensuring our government continues to make sustainable investments to protect and secure our residents throughout the province. The provincial government has also adopted an arm's-length approach to the ownership and the operation of the basic 911 system being designed for Newfoundland and Labrador. Our government has determined that the best model of the management of the basic 911 service is to operate as an arm's-length entity from the public sector through a structured governance model such as a board of directors, much like what is currently utilised by the Multi-Material Stewardship Board. This approach provides for a clear distinction between 911 system and the emergency response system. A broad structure allows government oversight while providing for maximum efficiency in day-to-day operations of the system outside of the core public sector. The specifics of such a board have not yet been finalised, but I fully expect to seek input and representation from key stakeholders and interest groups as we move forward with the set-up of the board. In addition, the province has settled on a cost recovery model to finance the continued operation of the basic 911 system once it is up and running. Following careful consideration and analysis, it is our determination that the most efficient, effective method of financing a province-wide system is to implement a monthly user pay levy on all landlines and wireless phones in the province, as in the case in modern 911 systems in North America. All costs associated with the operation and periodic upgrades to the 911 system will be financed by this monthly user levy, but will not be in effect until the system is operational. The specific fee that will be attached to all telephones has not yet been decided, but as outlined in the consultant's report from last year, it is expected to be less than $1. It is our plan that levies will be collected by the telecommunications service providers and remitted to the 911 board. All costs associated with system operations will be paid from these monies, and any surplus retained and utilised to finance periodic upgrades of the 911 system. These upgrades are commonly referred to in the industries as evergreening and include such things as hardware replacement, modernisation of software and associated training. Budget 2013, a sound plan to secure future, saw the allocation of $750,000 intended to further advance the work underway on the development and implementation of a province-wide basic 911. These funds will be used for the creation and establishment of a 911 project team to position the province to go live with the province-wide basic 911 system by the end of 2014. The project team will have an integral role to play in completing the important functional work. This includes, but is not limited to, establishing the 911 board in consultation with stakeholders and interest groups to continue drafting of the legislation and regulatory frameworks for the basic 911 system, identifying emergency response zones, establishing guidelines and procedures and policies, make arrangements and establish agreements with public service answering points, or PSAPs, to receive and properly channel the calls routed through the basic 911 system, establish training standards and quality assurance procedures, and begin a public education plan for both residents and emergency responders to provide key information on the 911 system and to minimise abuse and misuse of this important emergency tool. Develop and implement an approach to civic addressing in conjunction with FES-NL and the Municipal Assessment Agency. Civic addressing is not required for basic 911, but it is required for the Advanced Next Generation 911 system, which is part of the provincial government's long-term plan. Our government continues to recognise the complexities around police, ambulance and volunteer fire services in Newfoundland and Labrador, and how it will integrate with the telecommunication systems like 911. We cannot do this alone, and we are intent on ensuring we surround ourselves with up-to-date, relevant information and the best people possible to complete this essential project. Fire and Emergency Services Newfoundland and Labrador is continuing with its work in conducting fire department assessments, providing municipalities, the owners of the fire service, with information on the adequacy of current community services and suggestions for improvements and efficiencies. As a government, we continue to encourage communities to come together, share services or regionalise operations where conditions permit. I continue to be proud of the great success experienced in many areas and for the progressive discussions that are underway in other regions of the province. Our government, through the Department of Health and Community Services, is continuing to see work on the external operational review of the Provincial Ambulance Service, and we will factor that information into the process once the report is received and reviewed. We have taken progressive steps in the last few years to examine emergency services and make necessary improvements and recommendations for future generations. We are doing what needs to be done to expand basic 911 service and commence implementation of the next generation 911 system in an efficient, effective manner to ensure the system is reliable and sustainable. Once implemented throughout the province, all residents and visitors will be able to rely on the integrity and resiliency of the 911 system. We will ensure we get it right. Moving forward on this initiative will require expertise from both inside and outside government, from both the public and private sector, for communities, volunteers and public delight. Thank you very much for your attention.